Welcome to GovTech Explore. My name is Lisa Maria Norlin. I'm the process manager for GovTech Sweden, and I work at the digital innovation hub in Sundsvall, Västernorrland called Bron Innovation. And this GovTech Explore, I think some of you are attending this for the first time, is a 60-minute time that we have together to learn something new, hopefully, but also to share ideas and comments on GovTech as the topic, as the main topic. And GovTech Sweden is an ecosystem in Sweden for everyone who is interested when it comes to government technology, both when it comes to the private and the public sector, or any individual who wants to join. And we unite for a vision that we should co-create to accelerate the public value in the digital transformation. And the mission for the ecosystem is to both create this ecosystem, because that is very much needed. And in this ecosystem, we support one another, and we also develop one another and the organizations that we are representing. So during these 60 minutes, you could now initially at least have your mic muted. We are recording this so we can share it with others afterwards. That's usually very appreciated. You decide if you want to have your camera on, whatever makes you comfortable, of course. And if you want to use the chat to present yourself, but when we are listening to the presentation today, you can also write your questions in the chat, and we will make sure that we will pick them up later on. So we will start by a presentation for like 20-30 minutes. You can write your questions as we are listening. And then after that, we will have a conversation and some questions and answers with our guest here today. And that's it for the introduction. Today's topic is related to the fact that these digital meetings are these days the norm. You have to tell someone if you're going to meet them physically, because this is not what we usually expect from one another these days. But then also the question is, where should we actually have those digital meetings? I mean, we are used to platforms like the ones we're using today, but are there other places to actually meet in the digital world, and especially when it comes to innovation? I'm very super excited, Olli-Pekka, that you are joining us today from the company AGILS, which is a startup. And you have a very innovative product, I think, when it comes to a meeting place digitally for innovation. So the floor is yours, Olli-Pekka, and the rest of you pay attention to this interesting presentation and write your comments or questions in the chat, and we will then have a conversation together. So very welcome, Olli-Pekka.
Thank you very much, and welcome also everybody on behalf of me and our company. I will a little bit tell about our background first, and then I will tell about the tool and the background and tool is they are of course connected, and then at the end a little bit use cases, and like Lisa Maria said, that please write questions, and we have time for discussion there. We are AGILS, or AG Massive AB, like our official Swedish name is. We are a member of Mink incubator in Malmö, and background, we are a small startup, and my background is in software and technology, but I have been working with all kinds of development activities, starting from lean and agile methods, and human resource development, quality, and also sustainability, and 10 years at Nokia in business development and strategy development. Maybe a little bit more interesting background is our co-founder, Dr. Eija Mäki-Rintala. She used to be a professional musician, but then at some point of time started to think about that why certain musicians always perform well in competitions and auditions, and then started in Finnish Music University to develop a completely new training and method for how to prepare for situations where top performance is needed, and she forgot the term performance anxiety, which is the normally what is limiting us, but developed completely new approach based on systemic thinking and made a first coaching related doctoral thesis in Finland in University of Helsinki and partly in London University College London Institute of Education, and her research is one starting point for the AGILS. And also another thing what she has done is really she is expert how to use arts as in people development, organizational development, and she also wrote a bright paper around this for Finnish government some years ago, and those also arts you will see in our product. But that's shortly our background and where we started when I left Nokia and Eija Mäkirintala left Sibelius Academy, the Finnish Music University. When I left Nokia and she left the Finnish Music University, we gave training and facilitated workshops and coached people, and then we started to notice that there are two problems which are typical for almost every organization we met, and one is that there are plenty of hierarchies, biases, things that prevent people to really participate, how can I say, at full speed, meaning that typically what happens is that there is a boss or expert or somebody who really dominates the discussion, and then there are some quiet people who really don't participate very well, and that's very typical in most of the organization, and I have seen that there is even research confirming this notification. And another thing what we noticed is that people don't use their creative skills. We all have creative skills. We all can be creative, but normally in normal working conditions we don't use them as well as we could. We are a little bit stick to, how can I say, this analytic logical thinking, what we need, of course, but that's not the best one when we try to be more creative and really innovate solutions or insights which go a little bit or quite much beyond the obvious. So these kind of groundbreaking or game-changing solutions, and then we started to think about that what we can do, but in fact what we started to think about was in fact that how can we harness all available brain power, what is available, how can we get all insights, ideas from different people we can use in when innovating or trying to solve problems creatively or trying to develop new type of solutions, whatever that may be. But then I noticed also that McKinsey and also some other organizations, they have made also research that what does this mean, and McKinsey conclusion based on more than 1,000 organizations is that those organizations who use, they call it diversity, but use different people and so different people's competencies and knowledge, they are on average 33% better than companies who don't. And then we started to think about, or we already at that point we thought about that what we can do, and then we developed the AGILS platform, which is in fact platform, but the main scenario which I will be talk today is we call it innovation gallery. And the idea is that it works, Innovate works like this Zoom, that you can invite people to the meeting. However, the first difference compared to Zoom is, and Teams and many other tools is that you can invite unlimited number of people, even the whole Sweden, if you like. There is no upper limit how many people, but the idea is that we collect people together, and first thing what we do is to define the question, which is what our discussion topic, that why have been collected us ourselves together today. And in fact, that is the first good intervention point also in terms of making all kinds of workshops or meetings or whatever engagement events more effective, is that we really know why we are there. And that's also conclusion from in what I read in Harvard Business Review, that why people think that meetings or workshops are not productive. The main reason is that they don't know why they are there. So their recommendation was that really define the question or discussion topic. What shall be discussed today? Okay, when this is defined, we move people to the arts gallery, and you see their art. But the main thing what happens is that we hide the identities. In fact, we hide the whole process, the identities of people. We hide the identities for the people, so everybody is assigned a character, randomly assigned. So if I can be assigned a male character or female character, I don't know, which means that I don't either know with whom I am talking. So we remove all hierarchies, limiting factors, all titles, backgrounds, educational, whatever, seniority, juniority, which part of the organization or where this other person is coming from. So we don't know. And this is, and also when we are there in using a character instead of like now in Zoom, where we only see the head and a little bit more. That's also the same thing what is happening now when Meta or Facebook launched this metaverse thinking, or metaverse, in fact, as a term was innovated in 1990 something. But anyway, but the idea is even with Facebook, when they started to develop this thinking a couple of years ago, was that their idea was that how to make the social media more social. And we know that from the research that when we are there in a character instead of only chatting or only head, we are there using our whole body, like in normal meetings. It's how our psychology works, and that means that we have a, how can I say, much more of us in the meeting than for example in pure chatting. And that's one reason for Meta, and also one reason why Microsoft have developed the Microsoft Together mode. The main difference with and there are some other tools also, but the main difference with those tools and our tools is that we really didn't copy what can be done in virtual, or what we didn't copy the real world, but into the virtual world. But our idea was to really think about what can be done in a virtual world, which is very difficult to do in real world, and that's the hiding the identities of the people. Then we use this as a immersive environment, and also we use arts there, and the role of paintings there is only catalyze our creative thinking. That's another thing what we try to do there, combine how to really unleash the people's creativity, and also how to elevate the dialogue and get out of the, how can I say, normal workshop or workplace modes. And regarding the results so far, what we have seen, I will tell a little bit more, but we can see that we can engage people with better results, at least different results. So meaning that what we know already for sure is that the results will be completely different from the discussion than in traditional meetings. And the best results what we have said our clients have reported have been worth of millions with 1 hour engagement. So what we say that, sorry? So AGILS is a democratic co-creation environment maximizing innovation through diversity. Okay, we have platform, we have done something else. And from technology wise, when we talk about technology, we have their patented story technology, which basically means that we don't need to pre-write any storylines or pre-write anything which people actually need to do there. What we have there, in fact, is that we have their question what we have decided beforehand, like I said, or the discussion topic. Then we have a structure which guides people there, but people don't need to, how can I say, follow it. They can, in a very self-directed and very different way to try to find answers to the question what they need to solve there. Yeah, and clearly what we try to achieve there is that focus will be really what is being said, what the other person is saying instead of who is saying it or how it is saying, and that's the way to get different results. And a little bit this, okay, we have use case examples from the public and private sector. From public sector, we have a couple of interesting ones there also. One is Finnish Environmental Institute. They collected local entrepreneurs, plumbers, engineers, and then city people, and also research institute researchers to innovate completely new ideas or innovations, how certain cities in Finland can radically reduce CO2 emissions. And there were questions like how can be sensible green construction development be supported in certain cities, or what is the criteria for a great heating system in certain city areas or lighting systems. Then Finnish Arbets- och näringsministeriet, they also used AGILS in a couple of university cities in Finland and collected very wide stakeholder group, and the idea was to discuss and innovate completely new solutions, how highly skilled, educated in Finnish universities, educated foreign students, they can be employed in Finnish companies instead of that they go back to their own countries or whatever. So this kind of radical new type of innovations, that's where this tool is, or where this tool is good, and in cities it can, for example, be used in city planning, collecting very different type of people, different part of, and we are part of the one United Nations UN Habitat program, where there is idea to develop a new type of means how people in certain part of the cities or cities, they can impact in a new novel way in the city planning and solve local or innovate new solutions to local challenges or local questions. And in Tampere, Finland, which is Tampere city in Finland, it has also been used in healthcare settings where Finnish family support or Tampere Family Support Center, their idea was how they can reach people which are very difficult to reach them, meaning people, young fathers and mothers who may have or may recognize that they have a drug or alcohol related problem, but because of their social status they will never ever join any kind of traditional peer group or even visit the family support center offices. And they were able, what I heard from these nurses and healthcare people, that they were able to reach really great results and were able to steer some those target group people who had potential problems, to steer them to the next phase of care. And in the UK, it has been used in senior doctors leadership program, and in Alderhead Children's Hospital in Liverpool, it was used with young adolescent, young people from I think from 14 to 18 years old, that their therapists or sessions, their group sessions, some of them were in queue for therapy, and some of them already have seen the therapist, and the feedback was excellent. So this can be used as the idea is that for each and every session, the real life question can be decided. It can be used as it is for very different purposes, like of course Zoom or Teams or that kind of tools. So no tailoring is needed, and even when it is very high level graphics, it will work. It will not state any requirements for computers or networks. So we had also very good example in Finland the day when everybody moved to online because of COVID. Teams stopped working. Microsoft Teams stopped working in Finland, and many servers stopped working in Finland. With some people, we had a demo session with AGILS, and we didn't have in demo AGILS worked perfectly, no problem, but we couldn't use Teams. In business college, it's one applied university of sciences in Finland, and they had a interesting project, EU-wide Erasmus Plus project, but they couple of vision sessions they used AGILS, and the business college person said that this was 100% improvement compared to vision discussion in Teams. But two participant comments were interesting. One was one high-level university director from Southern Europe said that she normally makes the conclusion what the other person is saying immediately when she sees this other person. But here she couldn't do it because she didn't know with whom she was talking. So she really needed to concentrate on what the other people is talking, or in fact typing in our case. And another one was one person from Baltic countries who said that after a long row of Zoom meetings or Teams meetings because of the COVID, this was the first time he felt that he was in the same space with other participants, and that's how it works. Okay, the user journey is we have a team chat first where we can decide the question. We have the 3D world where we really try to tend to find new answers, and then we have a debrief chat where we can make a normal workshop type of conclusion that what were the best experiences, best ideas and what shall we do next. And the whole process, people are anonymous, and everything is saved in the session log, so nothing is lost. The radical ideas, what is typical is that in normal workshop they are lost very easily because people think that they are too radical compared to what is the thing what they need to do in the workshop. So that's also one client comment, that normally the best ideas are, or most different ideas are normally lost in normal meetings. And that's how it's looked like. I'm there in character, I use typing, and there are reasons why we use typing. And we can discuss, I can discuss with one person or 8 persons in the same group, or whatever combination. And I forgot to say that if we have more than 8 people participating, then it creates gallery rooms as many as needed, and maximum 8 in one room, and randomly assigns people in the rooms. And if we have more than one room, then I really don't know with whom I'm talking. Okay. I think that's quickly what this is all about. It's the it's a completely different tool for engaging people, and it produces completely different results than any other tools or face-to-face meetings. And we say often that medium is the message, that if you really want to make people think differently, you have to change the tools, how you try to make people think different. Yeah, that is from Professor McLuhan, I think 1961, from Harvard University. And then another thing, what we know from brain research is that if we really want to get our brains in creative mode, we need to give them the space where they don't know what will happen next. If our brains can anticipate what will happen next, they always take a shortcut and they don't go to the creative mode. That's how we are built. All right, this is us. And if you like to know more demo experience or experience how the tool really, what is the feeling when you are in the tool, the demo is very easy to organize, and also pilot project if you like. So I think that's quickly.
Yes, thank you so much. That was really interesting, and please add your comments in the chat. And if you would like to talk, because we're not that many today, you can raise your hand as well if you want to have a comment. I think this question about diversity and inclusion, when it comes to decision making or when it comes to bringing out ideas, it's really something that is a challenge still today. And so I think it's very spot on to find here the digital world can actually help us to do this differently than when we meet in person. But you said this in the end, that you use typing as the method to communicate rather than your voice. Have you got any feedback on if that is good or bad as a way of communicating?
Yeah, typing, there was 2 main reasons why we choose typing. One that people, when they type, they don't have so many patterns in their communication, so it's more difficult to recognize who is talking or typing. Another thing is that when we start to type, we start to think differently. That's what we want to do, that people think different, get them a little bit, not necessarily out of their comfort zone, but a little bit, how can I say, expand their brains and so forth. And the third one, where we had got very good feedback, in fact, is that when we type, introvert, slower people are much better in the same level in the discussion than in traditional meetings, because in this AGILS, nobody can't dominate using quick speech or body language or loud voice. What typically happens in normal meetings, even people don't even recognize it, but that this happens. So I think people have been very as a whole, the feedback has been very positive about typing. In fact, we have sometimes asked that do you want to have a speech or some kind of voice or whatever there. Many people have said that no, that this gave me or somebody really a good place to concentrate on really the issue better than in normal meetings or normal workshops.
Yeah. We have a question from Mr. C from Jönköping, and he asked, the avatars that you use, do they need to be human, or could they be like a tree or an animal instead?
Well, could be, but we decided to have human-like characters, and because we try to make it in a way look as normal as possible, so not to make how can I say too stretched from people's normal life. And in fact, with the same platform, there also has been one entertainment game, social drama type of game, but even compared to characters used those games, we made it look more like a normal people, but they are not. In fact, we used as a basis Brazil type of human, because Brazil is the most diverse, or more, how can I say, there are people from they are mostly mixed people are in Brazil, and we wanted that it doesn't look too much of white Finnish or Swedish engineer or something else. So they are quite global characters there in a way.
Yeah, that's interesting. And who knows, if you develop this further, if we're supposed to talk about biodiversity, you can be a bird or a tree, and we will see what will happen to this discussion.
In fact, tailored version, as it is, it can be used online like Zoom or Teams or whatever tool, but it can also be easily tailored if somebody likes, because most of the tailoring we can make some visual changes, and then maybe program our story creation and story engine, which is based on this patented technology, and why in fact the changes are quite easy to make, and why we have been able also to make some other learning simulations there.
Yes, Mr. C, do you want to comment something here? Perhaps you had some ideas of your own, or are you just happy with the answer? He seems to be happy with the answer. One other question that I have is when it comes to the user experience and what you heard from the users, and if you could see a variation depending on who has been the user, the target group, if you have been working with young people or more elderly people or whatever, if you have got some different responses depending on who has been the user.
The first thing I learned using this, that I don't assume anything anymore about the users, because that's typical. People told us that the younger people, maybe they are better, they are more used to these kind of tools. Anyway, the older, the young adolescent group from teenagers, they liked it very much, but I have also seen a group of ladies, and I think the youngest lady was about 50 something, and they used without any help. The family support center in Tampere, they said that they are healthcare people, they don't know anything about IT, but they used it without. I said that when you use it, and if you have any problems, you can always call me, but they never called me. And so they were completely used it without our help. And when we used this Finnish Environment Institute, then the research institute people, they were a little bit concerned that how plumbers, electricians, so forth, which don't use so much their computers, and they can be whatever age group that how they can use these kind of things. Nobody has had any kind of problems, and we got some feedback from email afterwards that wow, this was a very different experience. Great. So in fact, we have a 99% of the feedback, I would say, has been positive.
Yeah. Another question, because I usually facilitate meetings and workshops, etc. If I were to use this as a tool, is it always the case that the question is, do you have a theme for the meeting, and then you choose a question together and then you continue working with it, or how do you the first process? What do you invite people to? How does that look like?
I think it's the organization arrangement is like any workshop, that there is some kind of reason what we are trying to do. For example, now our idea is innovate new solutions, for example, for certain challenge in certain city, like the idea in this Finnish Environmental Institute was that the main theme was to radically reduce CO2 emissions, and then they choose some area of the city or some idea. Then the question can be, of course, decided beforehand. For example, that what could be the ideal situation in our next strategic step after 1 year, or what is the best way to proceed in this challenge, or how to what are the criteria for future lighting system in our city, or whatever it could be. And in fact, the funny thing or nice thing is also in our tool is that there can be a facilitator, but it can be used completely without facilitator. And what we achieve when not using facilitator is of course it makes it it's a cost issue and also timing issue, so we can organize something sooner, and also we can remove all kinds of biases which facilitator always causes in any kind of discussion. Very great, good facilitators, not so much. Some facilitators maybe a little bit more. But anyway, we can organize it without. It can be there. Only what is needed is a team host who can be facilitator, but who creates a team and the team can have multiple sessions and then invites people, whoever he or she likes to invite, and then starts the session. And the session is in fact quite efficient. Of my own experience, and also what feedback we had got from people, that because it's so immersive and you work all the time, that in 1 hour or a little bit more than 1 hour, you put as much effort in it than you put normally in half a day or 1 day workshop. So you can in a short time period get more results than in normal workshops.
I think this is quite sort of mind-breaking for control people like me, who wants to know every step of the innovation process. And even though you have a creative workshop, you still have your plan on how things are gonna go. So, I mean, I guess you get the question or the statement a lot that this is completely new and a bit of fear of actually trying this out. So if you're like me and you feel like, where should I start, to try this and actually to see how it functions, what would your advice be?
Well, first advice, I would say that let's have a pilot or let's have a demo, because it's very easy to test and take into use, because you don't need to acquire any hardware or VR classes or whatever type of things. And only if you have a computer, that's enough, Mac or PC, and then test it, have a question or first challenge, and let invite some people and see what happens. And then next, the funny thing, defining a question, like I said in the Harvard Business Review, their researchers said that this is one of the best way to make meetings and workshops more efficient, that you really have a question there, that people really do know what they are supposed to do there. But it's not easy. Even Albert Einstein said, when Albert Einstein was asked that, what shall he do if he has had 1 hour to save the planet? His answer was that he will think 55 minutes. What is the question I need to solve? 5 minutes is enough to solve it. So defining the question is also a challenge, and that's where we have also helped them. And also what we also offer, that when people start to use this, what we advise also that we can also be a team host in the first workshop for certain key people or first group of people who are joining. We will tell a little bit what is this all about, how to use it, how to be a team host, and then be a team host for the first session, and then discuss afterwards of the experiences. And sometimes even we have had a pre-workshop for certain, like in this Finnish Ministry of Trade and Environment, Trade and Employment, that with these people first discuss that what are the obvious answers to the question they had, like how to employ foreign people in Finnish company. What are the obvious answers? And when the obvious answers are visible, that let's forget those ones and let's go now to the AGILS and let's try to find something else.
And I guess this could be, a useful tool if you are, in the small working team at your office place, so you don't have your normal look and face during the office conversations or innovative meetings. But then, of course, it would be great to see this as a large scale. Imagine like a municipality or something joining to save the planet or other kind of big questions, and to get really people to join in. Have you any thoughts about, because I know sometimes when you want to do this bigger scale situations, it's not always super easy to get people to attend, because it's still what is this? Have you ever tried this out within like a large organization or a municipality or something? How do you actually get people to commit and join for that hour?
That's a good question. This is the same. I believe that it's same challenge than get people to join anywhere. But I think because this is different, and it's a different way. When I said that medium is message, we have an experience that when the medium is different, people start to be a little bit more interested in. And in this one case, okay, it also was this case of Finnish Ministry of Trade and Employment, and one person from, I think he was from some Arabic countries or Iran, I'm not sure, but he said that the city of Turku, which was the organization arranging it practically, that they always said all kinds of questionnaires regarding diversity and all these kind of things, and he doesn't care to participate on those because that's always the same. But this was different, and that's why he definitely decided to join this discussion. So I think, and that was the idea for Finnish or this Family Support Center, to reach the target group by providing something which is different compared to what they have seen otherwise. So, and again, I think in this Finnish environmental and some other cases, because there was a more concrete question even defined before, and more concrete that what will be the idea why people are participating. So I think, and some people because it's teamwork, because normally when, for example, cities, you send questionnaires or you send something and then people are answering alone. But here, what we have seen, because one of the when we use arts-derived methods, one is these paintings, but one is this improvisation theater principle that we have done it in a way that how you, like one of our software game developers said, that you can't develop long emails. You have to be quick. You have to throw in ideas very quickly. So you throw in an idea, somebody immediately develop it further, and then it can lead to very interesting outcome.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's what we have seen also in practice.
Yeah. Thank you. We have a raised hand here. Per, please unmute yourself. We can hear another voice today.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
You were speaking about Einstein and how he was assessing the problem before he was jumping on the solution there. And what would you say is the profound problem that you're solving with this platform?
Profound problem to solve this problem. Our how can I say? And it's a good point that at this time, what is happening around world, but our original, or one of the original idea, and it was definitely our co-founders' idea, was that develop something which even can be used with Palestinian and Israel youth, how they can discuss without knowing with whom they are discussing, that how they can solve these long continuing problems in their own area. And one of course was that to develop something new around this sustainability area. And then our third one was really that we thought about that how we can engage people from different backgrounds, because I have a great personal experience how diverse teams are produce much better results when something new is needed, and you have to forget not everything, but forget the traditional assumptions when really trying to find new solutions to certain problems. And so how we really can utilize all available brain power, and it means that how we can utilize all kinds of competencies people have, and really so that people really like to participate. So before that we also gave trainings on innovation and what is blocking the innovation in organization is typically that somebody saying, okay, I have seen and heard this before, without asking that do you have something new, or without researching that if there's some new viewpoint on this subject. Or then another thing, okay, don't tell me about the problems or challenges, tell me your solutions. And typically it's completely different organization, or at least people who can solve the problem if somebody sees it. So getting rid of those kind of typical things what limits our capabilities as a team or network or whatever to find completely new solutions which can be more sustainable, more profitable, better for people, and also it increases people's well-being when they really know that they have been able to contribute at the same level than for example top experts or big bosses. By the way, we have got a very good also feedback from leaders that they say that in this tool they can really step out of their role. And one high-level governmental director in Finnish government said that this could be a good tool for him, because wherever he goes, everybody is what typically happens is that everybody is waiting for his first comment, and the discussion starts from there. And in a way, we know how it will go. And the best results we have got here is that the discussion didn't start from the managing director or top expert, or maybe in the best case from where we know the money money thing. The best case, it started from experts who said that normally they don't have it. When they started to think about the solution, managing director, I think is already in the third subject in normal management meetings.
Do you get any ideas how to use this in Hudiksvall, the municipality? Or do you see that this is this, you know, an issue for you, you know, to be able to not see?
I try to work preventively to get the climate or a culture where speaking your mind isn't that what would you say, stigmatized. So it's easier to speak your mind wherever you are, in which team or which situation you are. You don't have to, I don't say that you hide, but hide behind the avatar and don't show your face and your voice. Face and voice is important when you work with innovation.
Yeah, it is. I agree that face and voice is important, but this is a complementary tool for it, and sometimes it's good. And we have also got feedback when before the COVID, couple of workshops was arranged. That first with AGILS, that there was questions like that: what we really need to produce this 1 day or 2 day, and the feedback was that people were the next part of the workshop, they were in a very much better creative mode than normally. And then another thing is that we also unconscious habit people is that when we go to the meeting, if I am an expert or boss, I tend to think about what I can say in the meeting. So I also assume things that how I need to behave, not only that other people think about. And we had a great example, one training organization, they tested it. And after the session, one lady asked that, who played Laura character? And nobody answered. And then she continued that, tell me who was Laura character? And then one senior guy with tie and dark suit and a little bit gray hair said that, okay, I was behind Laura character. And the lady said, I have never known that you are so creative, empathetic and cooperative, and we have been working together more than 15 years. So that this kind of environment let me also to loosen myself and try something different. And that's what we try to do, that people get out of their normal analytic, logical mode, thinking that, what can I say? Go there and say something. And some experts say, and I totally agree that is a world-class expert who goes to the meeting and says that I have said 2 years for you that this is the best solution. And said, I have been 2 years completely wrong. Let's try this other one. Or let's think about completely different viewpoint. That's world-class expert, and I have not seen many of them.
Well, thank you, Olli-Pekka, for that. We are soon summing up now, as it's like 60 minutes. It passes quickly. I mean, we are very happy during this GovTech Explore to have people from, you know, different part of the GovTech ecosystem. And today you also represent, you know, the startups who are very important in this co-creation between public and private sector in creating public value in the digital transformation. And here, this could definitely be a tool in this. Do you have any, you know, very short reflection on, as a startup working with public sector, do you have a message for like the public sector or wishes, or how things could be even more collaborative between private and public, and especially from a startup perspective? This is a huge question, but you have like 1 minute to answer this.
I have one advice. When you think that you like to test or pilot something new, do it, because only after doing or testing something new, then you know if it works or not, or how it works, or where it can work, or so forth. So I'm meaning that what people do is that they try to plan too much, plan half a year, several months, with when can we use something, can we test something, but we need a long time to plan it. Don't plan it, test it, and then see what happens, and then plan next step. So this, how can I say, taking this lean and agile approach is also for testing these kind of new tools you haven't experienced before. That's whatever tool it is, or whatever a new method or whatever it is. I think that's the best way also to, how can I say, move public sector or also private sector forward.
Thank you, excellent. And you weren't prepared for that question, so I'm impressed. So when we go for lunch now, you know, we test and we try, and then we can also make the decisions. We don't have to plan and analyze too much, at least, before trying, like now, different places to have our digital meetings or workshops, or places to innovate together. And the digital world can give us other ways of doing this. It's not like complementary, it's other ways of doing it. Thank you everyone for attending. You know how to reach out to us at GovTech Sweden. And if you want any contact with Olli-Pekka, you know, just write to us and we will connect you. Definitely if you want to have more information afterwards. So thank you so much, everyone. And the next GovTech Explore will be on the 22nd of March. They will be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we will have one of our national agencies, Försäkringskassan IT, who will talk about change management. So that's a different topic for that session. So check for the invite for the next Explore. Thank you very much, Olli-Pekka and everyone, and have a beautiful afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
everybody.
you.